A good midday Saturday to you, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazard Forecaster. On this 3rd of July, looking at the picture at large, this weather video is driven by 802cars.com. They represent 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Hurricane Hunter aircraft currently going through Category 1 Hurricane Elsa, and Elsa will be taking a track south of the island of Hispaniola, seeing some minor effects right now, but this is going to be taking it right into Cuba. From Cuba, we may have a slightly more broader track, and a few more things could go wrong, but National Hurricane Center track with Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance right now is making sure that stays pretty tight. We have a pretty good idea it's going to go west of Florida as it dumps out into the Florida Strait, not too far from Havana, a little bit east of Havana as it looks right now, Cuba. And then across the Florida Straits, west of the Florida Peninsula, and then coming ashore somewhere around maybe south of Tampa Bay or in the vicinity of Tampa Bay, cutting across the Florida Isthmus, and then into off of Daytona Beach or near Savannah, Georgia. And that will take a track, it looks like, right up the eastern seaboard, kind of doing a buzzsaw right up the coast, cutting across perhaps the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and then dumping out into the Atlantic Ocean, into colder waters, and probably turning extratropical, or some semblance of that, where most of the precipitation will shift to the left side, less amounts of precipitation to the right side, and that's where the winds are going to be with its forward movement as a tropical storm. Elsa will also have likely impacts once it goes off to the southeast of Cape Cod. It won't be too far southeast of Cape Cod, so something utilities should monitor. This would probably be along about Thursday into Friday late next week. So a long ways around the corner, but the ramifications are to throw a little bit of moisture back and probably persist and otherwise many days in a row of some humidity as we get into the late part of next week, rather than a cool down behind what will be a cold front that works through on Tuesday. That Tuesday weather looks like it'll be probably the main utility concern, with strong to locally severe thunderstorms in the area. All of that arrives overnight Monday night with an active warm front. Then we get into Tuesday, and that more or less lingers into Wednesday, Thursday, and probably into Friday beyond the period next week, and continuing into next weekend. A lot of that remnant moisture and effects of Elsa sort of getting in the forecast here as well. Staying on the tropical topic, here's Hurricane Elsa. So as we run the model, what you can see here is that track south of Hispaniola and then into Cuba, which has some pretty high mountains, especially eastern parts of Cuba. Then into the Florida Straits, dumps out west of Florida, and then takes that track up the eastern seaboard. Still a relatively tight track. It looks like this is going to be mostly to the south and east of Vermont, throwing a little bit of moisture. Don't have any wind concerns, as that will be on the right southern eastern semicircle with that forward wind. So no wind concerns, but something we'll keep a close eye on. If it were to hold any tropical storm force winds or even depression level winds, we'll have to keep a close eye on that for utilities. Looking at precipitable water, you can see Elsa here, and this is taken last night at 0Z. And we'll take the track and watch its track here with the precipitable water amounts. So we're looking at higher amounts of moisture in the tanner colors, the redder colors, and of course the higher precipitable water on the scale here. 0 or near normal is white, and then anything to the left of that is drier than normal conditions. And for example, super dry, relatively dry, near normal, wetter than normal, and so forth. A lot of this moisture is going to be coming around at us from the west. So as I run the computer model, you're going to kind of see how this changes up here. So first of all, keeping an eye on Vermont, we're under near normal and the cool regime with this upper level low right overhead. Eventually, what's going to end up happening is we're going to see this work in, but not until as we get into late in the day Monday or really Monday night. We start to see higher precipitable water, higher moisture levels begin to work in, along with warmth shooting in from the U.S.-Canadian border and the northern plains and lower Great Lakes. Now that warmth, it will also mean more moisture, and so we're looking at a relatively humid day on Tuesday. This is probably going to be the biggest threat when we have the strongest chance for potentially strong to locally severe thunderstorms, I believe, on Tuesday. Beyond that, it looks like a frontal system goes on through and then kind of stalls out across the southern parts of Vermont. then that daisy chain waves back into another kind of higher amounts of moisture with better convergence. This is valid on Wednesday evening, and that moves through Wednesday night and into Thursday. Finally, by Thursday and then into Friday, we start to see a little bit of drier conditions working in for along about Saturday. But still, we're right back into some precipitation, some higher muggy conditions, and warmer temperatures by the time we hit next Sunday, where we'll probably be back in the 80s with higher dew points, probably in the 60s and maybe approaching 70. Now, the main thing I want to show you here is Elsa. This is Elsa's moisture. It has a really good track. So it gets out and crosses Florida, loses a little bit of its identity, but then comes out across Florida, makes a little bit more of a northerly turn. And this is the remnants of Elsa right here. Then it gets into that warm water and powers up off the western coast of Florida and the Gulf Coast. Comes around Tampa Bay, it looks like that particular area, cuts across the Isthmus of Florida, and then dumps out along the eastern seaboard, cuts a little bit inland, perhaps, we'll have to wait and see, and then makes a strong right turn and goes out to sea south and east of Cape Cod. But you can see some of that moisture track, and this is valid Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. Looking at the precipitation, this is our upper level low. This is through tonight. We get a little bit of a reprieve. It dries out a little bit. And then during the day on the 4th of July, it's mostly going to be in southern parts of Vermont that we see some residual light shower activity. Nothing to worry about. No issues for utilities through the holiday weekend. We're into Monday now. This is valid into the morning hours. That's now into the late part of the day. There could be, again, a few more sprinkles, but not thunderstorm activity. This will be thunderstorms once we get that warmer air into the region. This is a warm front, and a pretty active one at that. This will be moving through during the overnight period, Monday night into the early morning hours on Tuesday. And then Tuesday looks like a fairly robust day for strong showers and thunderstorms, some potentially locally severe. We'll have to wait and see on that with the setup, cloud cover, instability, etc. So we have quite a few days now. What's going to end up happening is we get locked in with this moisture feed coming in from the west. And then we have Elsa. And as you watch Elsa, it's moved north now into northern Florida, and it jumps out and dumps out along the coast, eastern seaboard, and then goes out to sea to our south and east. So indirect effects, mainly just moisture at that point in time. But you can see that we're looking at kind of a daily diet of showers and thunderstorms, maybe up until along about Saturday, a little bit of a residual break there. And then we have another weather system working in from the west beyond the period. And again, another threat for strong to potentially severe shower and thunderstorm activity with this kind of a setup here with the Bermuda high feeding that moisture and, of course, mugginess and warmer temperatures. The GFS ensemble shown here and centered again on Montpelier. You can see pretty much every day has some sort of precipitation. So the total QPF, when you kind of add it all up, you can see there's some areas of heavier precipitation off and on, but we're getting up probably in the next 7 days somewhere around an inch or a little bit more than that. Convective available potential energy shown here, and you can see the big day is Wednesday, no doubt about that. And then this lines up very well with precipitable water with the maximum amount. And the other thing to look at is dew point temperatures. This is when dew point temperatures get above 60 degrees. So Wednesday is the day. Now the Jeffs, as well as several American models, cool us off, bring drier air into the region. The European is kind of thinking about keeping a lot of this, and this is having to do with a lot of that remnant effect of the passing Elsa. So Elsa may have changed up the forecast a little bit, the Europeans onto it, or maybe if Elsa doesn't pass through as close, it won't have as much effect, and we'll see a little bit more of a drying out. And you can see the climate reanalyzer here with much cooler than normal conditions all the way from southeastern Arizona right into the Canadian Maritimes. The big heat is to the north and west. Looking at the Weather Prediction Center 7-day total QPF, and you can see that the least amounts, 1 inch amounts, and then 1/2 inch, and that's 1/4 of an inch. So the northern tier regions are getting a little bit missed. Temperature forecast, and very quickly I'm going to show you the 850 hectopascal level of temperatures, which is the warmest during those higher precipitable water and the most instability. Moss-weighted temperatures look like this for the next 5 afternoons of high temperatures. 3 days later, a little bit of a moderation, if not even a little bit above normal, a little bit below normal to the north of our region. In the tropics, of course, you're looking at Elsa, the latest. Looking at calculated soil moisture in millimeters. So daily, this is the last day of the month of June. You can see that we've made some major inroads. Anomaly, the dailies, the monthly, the last day of the month look like this. So southern Vermont doing much better. Now the daily and percentiles and monthly, last day of the month, you can see how that's shaped up. And the change monthly and seasonally. We've made some major ground here across this particular swath, where we've had a lot of weather systems kind of track along this area into southern parts of New England and reaching some parts of southern Vermont. So seasonally, the area right now that's still showing up dry, of course, is going to be this particular area across northern Vermont. Needs most of the rain. We're starting to see catch-ups on the rainfall across the southern part of the state. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.